You left me on my birthday. You left when we were so close to getting married. I still can't understand why you did this to me. Rest in peace." This absolutely heartbroken message was posted on Instagram by 20-year-old Sia Goyal, literally just one day after her fiancé plummeted 400 feet to his death from a cliff. And to anyone looking at her page, it just seemed like the tragic, desperate cry of a grieving bride-to-be. But as you'll see, to police investigators, it's starting to look like a chillingly calculated digital smokescreen.
Perfect bit band eyes maybe the brown color in them and your इसे क्या बोलते हैं sorry flits yes your flits are the best ये तो अच्छे से व्यू है
उधर देखिए मत
then I love that you're not put smart, you're sweet smart. You're smart. And you're sensitive also. You care a lot. And not just for me, for everyone. और फिर तो मुझे मोटा करके छोड़ने वाली है।
हाँ, मतलब है इधर रखे।
मैं हाथ ही सबसे पहले और तब से मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि कब खाऊँ। And those are only for me.
We are diving deep into a case that has absolutely gripped the nation. And honestly, it sparked some massive debates about the highly curated lives we all lead online. We're looking at the tragic death of Pune realtor Ketan Agarwal. Now, I want to be super clear right up front. The people accused in this case, Sia Goyal and Chetan Chaudhary, are currently facing a trial. Everything we're going to talk about regarding their involvement is based strictly on police theories, ongoing investigations, and allegations. So our goal today is just to break down the fascinating and honestly really complex trail of evidence the authorities are trying to piece together right now. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover the fall at Lohagad, timeline of a tragedy, a secret double life, the digital evidence trail, social media sensation, and awaiting legal justice. Let's jump straight into part 1, the fall at Lohagad. Okay. To really understand what happened on June 18th, we have to look at the key players here. On one side, we have our victim, 26-year-old Ketan Agarwal. By all accounts from the people who knew him, he was just a cheerful, well-liked guy. He was super successful too, working as a director at his family's massive real estate firm in Pune called Success Group. Then, on the other side, we've got his 20-year-old fiancée, Sia Goyal, who also comes from a pretty affluent business family. And then there's 22-year-old Chetan Chaudhary, who is known locally as an active sportsman. Now, at first, Ketan's June 18th death was reported as a horrific freak photography accident during a trek. But as police started digging, they suspected a much darker scenario involving Sia and Chetan. Moving right along to part 2, timeline of a tragedy. When investigators peeled back the layers on the weeks leading up to June 18th, they claim to have found a really specific escalating plot. Get this, according to police, back in May, Ketan and Cynthia were actually supposed to go to Bali for a pre-wedding shoot, but the trip had to be abruptly canceled because Ketan's passport just mysteriously went missing. Well, police are now alleging that Cynthia actually stole that passport to sabotage the trip. Then, fast forward to June 14th, literally 4 days before his death, the couple visits Lohagad Fort. Police claim Cynthia made her very first attempt to push Ketan off a cliff right then and there, but he managed to grab a tree and survive. And her alleged excuse? She told him she saw a snake and was just trying to push him out of the way to save him. Crazy, right? Then we get to June 18th. Police allege Cynthia and Chetan met at a cafe that morning to finalize everything, which ultimately led to the fatal evening fall at the fort. And the police are alleging an unbelievable level of calculation went into this whole thing. They are saying this was absolutely not a spur-of-the-moment crime of passion. In fact, they claim Sia and Chetan actually studied a past high-profile crime, the Sonam Raghuvanshi murder case, just to learn from those killers' mistakes so they could avoid getting caught. They allegedly went as far as conducting Google searches on ways to kill a fiancé. On the actual day, Chetan purportedly wore a hoodie pulled up to completely conceal his face from CCTV cameras. The police even claimed the duo had a pre-decided physical signal. Saya sitting down on the ground was allegedly the cue for Chetan to sneak up from behind and push Ketan. Which brings us to part 3, a secret double life. So you might be wondering, what is the motive here? Why go to such extreme alleged lengths? Well, the investigation points to this staggering contrast between their public and private lives. Publicly, Ketan and Saya had this incredibly lavish engagement back in February. I mean, they were planning a spectacular 14 crore rupee destination wedding in Udaipur, complete with charter flights for all their guests. It looked like an absolute fairy tale, but the alleged reality behind closed doors? Police claim Saya actually told them during her interrogation that she actively disliked Ketan. She even cited something as trivial as him wearing a hair patch. But she allegedly felt like she couldn't just call off this massive wedding. Investigators believe her family actually knew she was close to Chetan, but they pushed forward with the wealthy Agarwal match anyway because of the financial disparities, which created this immense fear of family backlash for Saya. But guys, hold on, because here is the absolute bombshell twist in this alleged double life. Police are currently investigating claims that Saya and Chetan didn't just want to be together, they literally already were. Authorities suspect the two of them secretly tied the knot at a local registrar's office under the Special Marriage Act 4 months prior. That's a civil marriage process that actually requires a 30-day public notice, and they allegedly used their college friends as witnesses to pull it off. I mean, if that's true, this brazen act completely and totally invalidates her highly publicized February engagement to Ketan. Let's dig into part 4, the digital evidence trail. Since there are 0 direct eyewitnesses to the fall itself, how are the police actually trying to prove any of this? Well, it all comes down to digital footprints. I want you to look at this number right here, 2004. That is the exact number of phone calls exchanged between Saya and Chetan in just the 6 months leading up to Ketan's death. That totals 238 hours of conversation. To put that into perspective, that's nearly 10 full days of nonstop talking. While Chetan's lawyer has claimed these were just friendly or business calls, police are arguing that this massive volume completely shatters the narrative that they were just casual acquaintances. And to make matters worse, police claim both of the accused systematically wiped their chat logs right before and right after the June 18th incident. But as we all know, in the digital age, deleted doesn't actually mean gone forever. Forensic teams are currently working to recover all that data. And the digital evidence they've managed to uncover so far is highly incriminating. Take a look at this purported Snapchat message that Saya sent to a friend in May, weeks before the fall at the fort. Her future in-laws were asking for her family's documents so they could book flights for the big Udaipur wedding. Saya messaged her friend asking for her ID, but she added this totally chilling caveat. It's for booking wedding tickets for a wedding that is never going to happen, but send it anyway. I mean, wow. For investigators, that right there strongly points to premeditation. All right, moving to part 5, social media sensation. Because of this intense digital paper trail, this case hasn't just been confined to police stations, it has completely exploded online. The internet, and especially Pune's tight-knit Marwari community, has become absolutely obsessed. Older, heavily choreographed engagement videos of the couple, which initially just looked like a perfect romance, are now being rewatched by millions of people who are trying to spot hidden clues or signs of discomfort. It really highlights this whole culture of performative weddings we have today, where the aesthetic of the relationship online somehow becomes way more important than the actual reality of it. The case has totally blurred the line between true crime reporting and internet entertainment, and it really forces us to question the authenticity of those perfect lives we scroll past on our feeds every single day. And finally, part 6, awaiting legal justice. So while the internet is busy playing detective, the real battle is gearing up for the courtroom. Right now, both Saya and Chetan are sitting in judicial custody. Their mobile phones are undergoing intense scrutiny at forensic labs. And the Maharashtra government is taking this incredibly seriously. They've actually directed the case to a fast-track process and even appointed high-profile senior advocate Ujwal Nikam as the special public prosecutor. But as any lawyer will tell you, making a murder charge is one thing. Proving it in a court of law, that is a whole different ballgame. And that's largely because this entire case currently rests on circumstantial evidence. Like we mentioned earlier, nobody actually saw who pushed Ketan. In Indian law, when you're dealing strictly with circumstantial evidence, the courts rely on something called the Panchashil framework. It's essentially a set of 5 golden principles established by the Supreme Court. And let me tell you, it sets a massively high bar for the prosecutors. To actually secure a conviction, the prosecution has to hit these 5 steps perfectly. First, every single circumstance must be fully and solidly established. Second, those facts must point only to the guilt of the accused. Third, the evidence has to be absolutely conclusive. Fourth, it has to exclude every single reasonable alternative explanation. That means they have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Ketan didn't just accidentally slip and fall. And finally, they must weave a complete, unbroken chain of evidence. If there is literally even one missing link, the whole thing falls apart and the accused walk free. As we watch this intense legal process unfold, this case leaves us with a pretty haunting thought. In an era where so much of our existence, our relationships, and our biggest life events are so perfectly choreographed for social media validation, how do we actually spot the reality hidden behind the digital facade? The Ketan Agarwal case is a really tragic reminder that sometimes the most beautiful pictures can hide the darkest truths. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning what you see, and we'll see you next time.